What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome to The Nerdy Narrative, a channel where I share about all of the things that I read. Today being Friday, that means it's time for another weekly reading wrap-up. This is where I share about what I read, what I'm currently reading, and what I'm planning to read next. Before I get into the books, a quick shout out to all of the patrons of the Nerdy Narrative channel. Without you, this would not be possible in the capacity that it is. Your generous support each month helps pay for all of the things that go into running a channel. Thank you so much. I hope you know just how appreciated you all are. Now, let's talk about what I finished reading this week. Almost immediately after I finished filming last week, I got back into Austrian Spencer's The Sadeiest, and I finished it. I loved it. I need the second book now. It's coming soon. It's coming soon. So that's the great news. I also want to tell you all, I am so sorry. I did not realize when I decided to start reading this one that it was out of print. Again, I have good news. I talked with the author and he has commissioned artist Daniel Serra to do a new cover for The Sadeiest and will also be doing the cover for book 2. I saw a sneak preview of the cover that's going to be on this one, and it is fire. I will be buying one as soon as it goes on sale, and hopefully I will have the date for the second book in this one very soon, but I loved it. As soon as I finished The Sadeiest, the next book that I picked up was Quiet Thunder by J.P. Harker. Excellent. It was excellent. In my written review, I said it felt like I was going home. It takes place in the same world as Harker's The Caledon Saga, which I've only read book 1, but I have already put book 2 back on the schedule because I got back in this world and I want more. The way to get more is finish reading the other series. It's always been the case when I've read one of J.P. Harker's books that I've loved the characters, I love the action, I love the battle, I love the religion, the gods, everything. I just love this author's writing style. It's so easy to immerse yourself in and just get lost until you're sitting and reading for hours. So this is definitely a hit for me. I did check in with J.P. Harker to see if this was going to be another series. He said no, it's a standalone, but he is planning to write more standalones kind of in the same vein, so I am happy with that. I also finished A Labyrinth of Scions and Sorcery, which is the second book in Curtis Craddock's The Risen Kingdoms trilogy. The first book was so stunning, I just couldn't see how the author would top it. I expected it to be on the same level, but this one exceeded my expectations immensely. I saw the return of my favorite characters from book 1. I saw the introduction of a whole new pack of characters, and there's one character who changed from how we knew them in book 1. And in book 2, I was rolling at this character. Absolutely love what was done with that one. I cannot wait to read book 3, hopefully this month. I don't know. I have a lot of commitment reads. Plus, I've started reading my slush pile for SPSFC, so I don't know if I'm going to get to the third one. I really hope so. Curtis Craddock is amazing. This series is amazing. If you all are fantasy lovers, steampunk lovers, a little bit of science fiction elements thrown in, you're missing out if you are still sleeping on this trilogy. And then the last thing I have finished reading since I talked to you last, new month means it is time for another essay of Joan Didion's from her collection, We Tell Ourselves Stories in Order to Live. This is a read-along that's hosted by Kate from the Literary Apothecary. I'll have her information linked down below. We're still very early in the collection. We read one nonfiction essay a month. Very easy for anyone to catch up if you like, but the one that was on deck for this month is called On Morality. Joan did a lot of rambling in this one, as she is sometimes wont to do. I knew based on the title she was going to have something in there that was going to deliver, and she did not disappoint. It was this quote that really delivered, and of course it was at the very end. Because when we start deceiving ourselves into thinking not that we want something or need something, not that it is a pragmatic necessity for us to have it, but that it is a moral imperative that we have it, that is when we join the fashionable madmen. And then is when the thin wine of hysteria is heard in the land, and then is when we are in bad trouble. And I suspect we are already there. She wrote that in 1965. Girl, you knew what you were talking about in some kind of way. Those are all of my completed reads. All of them, except the essay, have written reviews on my website, which you can find linked in the description box down below if you would like to read a little bit more about each of the books along with their book descriptions and see if one of those might be a good fit for your reading taste. Now, as far as what I'm currently reading, I did begin Andrea Hairston's Redwood and Wildfire. This is a buddy read that I'm doing with my friend Evie from the channel She Was Only Evie, and one of us is liking the book and one of us is not liking the book. You can probably guess which one is liking it. I am enjoying it so far. I'm very early in. I think I've only read 3 chapters so far. I didn't have a whole lot of time to read over the last couple of days. How it is we came to read this book, Evie had heard Andrea Hairston described as if Zora Neale Hurston wrote fantasy, which was all we needed to hear to want to read this book. I do feel there are echoes that are similar to Zora Neale Hurston's writing in some of the descriptions. That's all. Echoes. Not really a big similarity. So far, I'm 3 chapters in. Evie, who is 50% in, last time I chatted with her, she mentioned she hadn't formed any connections. I haven't either, but my interest is in what the main character does. She is trying to become a hoodoo conjurer like her mother, and that's where my interest lies, more in the historical fiction around hoodoo. So we'll see if that's enough to carry me through this book. I will say that I am immersion reading using the audiobook from my library. January Lavoie is the narrator, and I honestly think this book is better as an audiobook because January Lavoie does something amazing anytime she narrates a book, and I really love how she's bringing this story to life for me. I'm rereading the Harry Potter series. Again, I'm doing this with my friend Kate from the Literary Apothecary. She does have channels set up for us to chat about these books as we read them on her Discord. If you would like to join us, you absolutely can. Info, as always, is in the description below. But this is the first time I've ever read the illustrated version, and I will absolutely confess that the majority of what's happening here is I am looking at the pictures. The illustrations are gorgeous. I'm 3 or 4 chapters in. There really is no other way to read these books to me anymore. I'm just taking this one a chapter a day so I can just really study the illustrations and enjoy the beautiful artwork of Jim Kay. And then my final book that I have started is audiobook only, and that is Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule. This is the second book chronologically of the Star Wars High Republic series. This is a series that I am buddy reading with my husband Chris. We're using the chronological list of the Star Wars books that's out by Penguin Random House. Again, one of us is liking it more than the other, and again, you're right if you think I'm the one that is enjoying it more. I love how this one started. This one is narrated by Mark Thompson, who does amazing. I have had the pleasure of listening to Mark Thompson's narration before with the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy, so I'm glad to be back with him. I love the voices that he does, so it'll be interesting to see how we both feel as we continue to make our way through the book. If you want to hear more, we'll do another review that'll be on the channel later this month or early next month. So now that we've talked about what all I've finished and we chatted about what I'm working on, what am I going to read next? Well, you've probably already guessed, it's going to be Stephen King's Fairy Tale. With that one being a 600-page chunker, and I have literally just started these other 3 books that I just mentioned, I don't foresee finishing all of these in time to start another book, but just in case something crazy happens, the next book I'll start will be the latest in the Fetch Phillips archive by Luke Arnold, which is One Foot in the Fade. Y'all, that is going to do it here for me today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so glad you were here. If you like what it is I do here, make sure you give the video a like. If you want to make sure you don't miss what's coming next, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.